By 2035, CRISPR 3.0 is expected to become a standard tool for correcting hereditary diseases at the genetic level. This next-generation gene editing system offers greater accuracy and fewer unintended changes than earlier methods. Initial applications focus on blood disorders such as sickle cell anemia, but researchers are developing targeted delivery techniques that could expand treatment to a range of genetic conditions. Lab-grown organs are projected to reach commercial availability by 2030. These organs, cultivated from a patient's own stem cells, have the potential to eliminate transplant waiting lists and reduce the risk of rejection. Early successes include the growth of functional miniature livers from induced pluripotent stem cells, and the first clinical use cases will likely involve simpler organs like bladders before moving on to more complex organs such as kidneys and hearts. This development could transform transplant medicine and provide new options for patients with organ failure. By 2040, human trials may begin for nanobots designed for targeted drug delivery. These microscopic machines are engineered to travel through the bloodstream and deliver medication directly to affected tissues, such as tumors. Prototypes are being tested for their ability to identify disease markers and release drugs at precise locations, which could improve the effectiveness of treatments and minimize side effects. Some research is also exploring the use of magnetic fields to guide these particles to specific sites in the body. Anti-aging therapies are under development with the goal of extending healthy lifespans by as much as 30 years by 2050. Approaches include drugs that clear out senescent cells, therapies that activate telomerase to maintain chromosome stability, and gene therapies that mimic protective variants found in long-lived individuals. Several companies are planning human trials for these interventions, and early animal studies have shown promising results in delaying age-related decline. Brain-computer interfaces are expected to restore mobility for paralyzed patients by 2030. These systems connect the brain to external devices, translating neural activity into commands for robotic limbs or computers. Current versions allow users to control prosthetics with reasonable accuracy, and new implants are being developed to improve signal quality and reduce invasiveness. Research is also underway to provide sensory feedback, allowing users to experience touch and movement through artificial limbs. Exoskeletons are set to become common in industrial settings by 2035, enabling workers to lift heavy objects with reduced risk of injury. These wearable devices use sensors and actuators to augment strength and endurance, and next-generation models will incorporate artificial intelligence to anticipate and support user movements. The technology is also being adapted for military use, where exosuits can increase a soldier's load-carrying capacity and endurance. Gene drives may be deployed by 2030 to control populations of disease-carrying insects, such as mosquitoes that transmit malaria. By spreading genetic modifications that reduce fertility or block disease transmission, these interventions could sharply lower the incidence of malaria and other vector-borne diseases. Field trials have shown significant reductions in mosquito populations, and regulatory frameworks are being developed to manage ecological risks. Synthetic biology is expected to play a growing role in environmental remediation by 2040. Scientists are engineering microorganisms that can break down pollutants, absorb heavy metals, or degrade plastics. These organisms offer a biological solution to cleaning up contaminated environments and are being designed with safety features to prevent uncontrolled proliferation outside of intended areas. Personalized medicine based on multiomics data is anticipated to become standard by 2050. By integrating information from genomics, proteomics, and metabolomics, doctors will be able to tailor treatments to each individual's unique biology. Hospitals are building bioinformatics capabilities to process and interpret this data, with AI systems assisting in identifying optimal therapies. This approach is already being used in oncology for selecting cancer treatments and is expected to expand to other fields. As these technologies mature, they will require new ethical frameworks and regulatory oversight to ensure safety and equitable access. The convergence of biotechnology, AI, and medicine will not only transform healthcare, but will also influence how societies adapt to broader challenges in the coming years. Energy transformation. Energy systems worldwide are entering a period of rapid transformation, marked by the accelerated adoption of renewables, new storage solutions, and the growing importance of energy independence. Over the next decade, solar photovoltaic capacity is expected to triple, driven by advances in perovskite cell technology. These next-generation panels are projected to reach 40% efficiency, capturing more sunlight than traditional silicon cells and lowering production costs. As manufacturing scales, solar power will become the most cost-effective electricity source in many regions, making it a primary driver of the shift away from fossil fuels. Offshore wind energy is also set to play a major role, with floating platforms and larger turbines unlocking new locations and providing more consistent output. By 2040, offshore wind farms could supply 10% of global electricity, supported by expanded port infrastructure and specialized installation vessels. Countries such as the UK and China are investing heavily in these projects, aiming to meet growing demand while reducing emissions. Green hydrogen will become increasingly important for decarbonizing sectors that are difficult to electrify, such as heavy industry and shipping. Electrolyzers powered by renewable energy will produce hydrogen at a scale large enough to support steel mills, chemical plants, and cargo vessels. New policies, including tax credits and direct investment, are making green hydrogen competitive with fossil-derived alternatives. Early deployments are already underway in Europe and Asia, with further expansion expected through the 2030s. Next-generation geothermal energy is gaining traction as a reliable source of baseload power. Enhanced drilling techniques and closed-loop systems allow for clean energy production in a wider range of locations, not just traditional geothermal hotspots. Modular geothermal plants are being developed for faster deployment and lower upfront costs, and ongoing research aims to further reduce drilling expenses. This technology is expected to help stabilize grids as renewable penetration increases. Electricity grids are evolving to accommodate these changes. Vehicle-to-grid technology will allow electric vehicles to feed power back into the grid, balancing supply and demand as more intermittent renewables come online. By 2030, bidirectional charging is projected to become standard in many markets, with millions of EVs acting as distributed energy assets. This integration will help manage fluctuations in generation and support overall grid reliability. Energy storage is another critical component of the transition. While lithium-ion batteries remain central for short-term storage, alternatives such as flow batteries, compressed air storage, and hydrogen storage are being developed to provide backup power over longer durations. These technologies will help address the variability of wind and solar, ensuring that electricity remains available even during periods of low generation. The push for energy independence and security is shaping government policy and corporate investment. Nations are racing to secure supply chains for critical minerals, batteries, and clean energy manufacturing. The global climate tech market is projected to grow rapidly, with significant funding directed towards scaling up renewables, storage, and supporting infrastructure. By 2050, projections suggest that 90% of global electricity could come from renewable sources if current trends continue. Achieving this will require not only the continued deployment of solar, wind, and geothermal, but also investments in grid modernization, storage, and workforce development. The remaining fossil fuel generation is likely to serve as backup, with most electricity coming from cleaner sources. As energy systems evolve, the technologies and infrastructure supporting them will influence other sectors as well. These changes are already beginning to affect how people and goods move, setting the stage for significant developments in transportation.